Water brings life to Texas. To manage this valuable resource, Texans are working together to conserve and augment their water supply. After years of research development, cloud seeding is being used throughout much of West and South Texas to increase rainfall. This partnership involves water management districts, farmers, ranchers, county commissions, and municipalities. To fund these efforts, each project is responsible for 1/2 of the cost, while the people of Texas, through their legislature, provide the other half. People working together is the hallmark of the rain enhancement programs in Texas, and this cooperation even extends beyond the state's border into New Mexico. Everyone stands to benefit.
The real key thing here is we're saving our underground water. That's the important issue right here. That's our goal, I think, is to save our water for future generations.
Whether or not we survive, we depend on rainwater for everything. And it's what waters our grass and what feeds our cattle and what provides the water for our house and everything. I mean, we just have to have rainwater.
The only water we have on these ranches here is water we catch in the ponds. We have no wells, no underground water. And we're directly dependent on rainfall.
We've got to have more water. We can't, our wells, we can't drill any deeper. We can't drill any more wells.
I irrigate out of every water formation that we have. I do dryland farming, which we need the rain enhancements for that. I irrigate, I have permits out of the Nueces River and the Espantosa Lake. I have wells in the Creza Aquifer, and also some upper wells are in the edge of the Leona Gravel. So I use water from every source that's available that we have in Savannah County.
It's quite simple. Without water, there wouldn't be any ranchers, I don't think, in the state of Texas unless they have some very deep water wells. Water is of extreme necessity to be in the ranching industry.
Although everyone agrees on the need for additional water in Texas, some are skeptical about cloud seeding for rain enhancement, and a few vigorously oppose it on various grounds. For example, some claim cloud seeding, as practiced over the past 50 years, is harmful to the environment and to human existence. However, there is no evidence that this is the case. Most opposition is the result of a lack of understanding as to what cloud seeding is and how it works to augment rainfall. Thus, most project managers understand that public education must be a major component of their programs.
The program has not been without its critics over the years. It's not been without its controversy. But it has proven now over the years that we can safely enhance the amount of water that falls from a given number of clouds. And as that proof has come in, my support of the process has grown.
Cloud seeding, when it first came in down here, was new, and we're a little bit skeptical of it, but after seeing what it has done over the past several years, I've gone to the other side, I guess you might say, and it has really come on and showed us what it's capable of doing.
In weather modification, like any other program, marketing is expensive. If you're doing a good job, you got to tell people.
A lot of our effort is trying to educate people about the program.
We believe that informing the public is critical to the success of any cloud seeding program. There really is nothing to hide. We have technology available today that allows us to identify when and where and how long cloud seeding is taking place. This information is being made available by way of the internet.
Basically, we've talked to several civic organizations and clubs about the programs.
It's very important that we invite those people in to better understand the program, especially the critics.
We've been very successful with our educational program.
If a cloud seeding program is to be effective, it must have a strong scientific foundation. Although cloud seeding is not yet a proven technology, research efforts in Florida, Texas, Thailand, Cuba, and South Africa have provided strong evidence that cloud seeding, as implemented in Texas, will increase rainfall if applied properly. All 26 analyses made of these 5 past scientific seeding experiments show substantial percentage increases in rainfall. There is not yet scientific proof of seeding effectiveness, but these results are a big step in that direction. Although cloud seeding has been used intermittently in the state since the late 50s, these research results provide the basis for Texas's most ambitious cloud seeding effort to date. Texas's rain enhancement effort, from Amarillo in the Panhandle to Laredo along the Rio Grande, is paid for in part by the Texas Department of Agriculture.
CRMWD got involved in cloud seeding back in 1971, and the reason for that was we were in a very severe drought. We were looking for some tools, some strategies that we could use to increase precipitation, rainfall, we put water in our reservoirs.
We're seeding a large area of South Texas here. We're seeding San Antonio's area for the recharge into the Edwards Aquifer. We seed our area to augment the water in the Carrizo Aquifer, as well as decrease some of the pumping during the growing season for the farmers, which in itself decreases what they pump out, which increases what's in the aquifer. So that's basically what our charge is, and I think our folks are plenty happy with the program.
I'm completely for the project. I think it's not only politically correct, I think it's very cost effective. There's a lot of other things we can do, but they don't come anywhere close to 4.5 cents an acre.
It's interesting to me that the people we're really helping, and I'm talking about from just a cost, a money standpoint, are the people that live, as I say, where the pavement runs around their houses. I'm talking about the people in the cities that have their water bill reduced because of rainfall events and increased capacity for drinking water. I think it's very, very significant. Rainfall on the ground for those of us who have no surface water is certainly important, because each and every time rain falls on the ground, our ag producers are able to turn their irrigation wells off, and we save water in the aquifer for the future.
You know, our goals is to make it rain, but that's something I want to stress, I guess, is that our number one goal is safety, because it's not the pilots up there in that type of weather, that our first objective is the safety for our pilots and the people on the ground, or whoever it has to affect.
When this program was started, probably I, as much as anybody else, was skeptical of whether it worked. And George Bomar put on a program in Austin about cloud seeding. We had a director that had been very interested in cloud seeding and had at that same time asked our board to look into it.
This appeared to be an opportunity to get some water that nobody had claims to, and actually create some new water and add it to the system. So we looked at it as an opportunity to bring new water in for us to help manage the aquifer.
We had been monitoring some of the other programs in Texas, and it became apparent to us that cloud seeding had some promise. And it looked like that we could increase the rainfall, and we had a series of meetings in each of our counties to gather input to see if there would be public support for a cloud seeding program. And after we had those public meetings, we decided to get into the cloud seeding program.
Good stewardship would demand that if you are drawing out of the earth an asset that you potentially can recharge, then good stewardship would dictate that it is your place to recharge that, if at all possible.
From the standpoint of providing water, we have to use all of the available tools, I believe, if we're going to provide for the amount of water necessary to continue to develop our communities and sustain our communities. It is regulated, it should be regulated. If we need additional regulation in order to provide for the safety and soundness of it, we need to do that. That's always been my attitude.
It is based on science. There's a lot of scientific research to back up the methods, the tactics, and the methodology used in the program.
Here, the concept of cloud seeding is explained. Clouds form when moist air rises in an updraft and cools to condensation. Tiny visible water drops form on minute dust and salt particles. As the moist air rises and cools further, these water drops grow larger. In many clouds, the drops fail to grow large enough to fall as rain. The challenge of cloud seeding is to produce raindrops large enough to fall before the cloud dissipates. The seeding techniques used to enhance rainfall in Texas deal with cold clouds in which most of the drops in the updraft are not frozen, despite cloud air temperatures below 32 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 degrees Celsius. These drops are supercooled. Seeding with small particles called ice nuclei, such as silver iodide, is done to freeze these supercold drops, creating ice particles which grow larger and consume the remaining water drops. Seeding can be done near cloud top or cloud base. In top seeding, the aircraft flies in the supercooled cloud updraft and disperses the nuclei produced by flares which are released from the aircraft. Base seeding is done in updrafts using fixed flares or burners attached to the aircraft. The updraft carries the nucleant particles to the supercooled portion of the cloud where freezing takes place. This technique works best when the clouds cover large areas and have strong, organized updrafts. Seeding supercooled clouds makes use of the principle that when water changes from liquid to ice, heat is released into the air. Clouds thrive on this heat. The seeding-enhanced ice mass is supported by the heat-invigorated updraft. Eventually, the ice falls and melts as rain. When this increased rainfall reaches the ground, an outflow is produced, generating regions of convergence where new clouds can grow and might also be seeded. In clouds with large raindrops, the heat released as the drops freeze may be large enough for the cloud to support the increased ice mass while continuing to grow to great heights. This produces additional rain. According to the research of Doctors Woodley and Rosenfeld, who provided the scientific basis for cloud seeding in Texas, this type of seeding can produce rainfall increases of more than 100% from individual clouds and 50% or more from large groups of clouds. Woodley and Rosenfeld emphasize, however, that seeding only works when there are suitable clouds within the target area. The flares used to seed clouds are a key component of the operational programs. After years of scientific testing, the Texas Weather Modification Association has been producing their own advanced seeding flares, used at cloud base and at cloud top throughout Texas. A computer-based system called Titan is being used at each project site to assist meteorologists in directing the seeding flights, tracking seeder aircraft, warning of severe weather, and assessing seeding effectiveness. Much of this information can be accessed by the general public in real time from project websites. The programs are putting considerable emphasis on evaluation of the results of seeding. Evaluation on the scale of cloud clusters, covering up to 800 square miles, is being made by Dr. William Woodley of Woodley Weather Consultants and Professor Daniel Rosenfeld of the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. Both provided scientific leadership for the past Florida, Texas, and Thailand experiments and have worked closely together for over 20 years. Mr. Archimedes Ruiz, a participant in the past Cuban experiments, heads up a separate analysis group based in San Angelo. Here, his analyses focus primarily on individual clouds and small cloud clusters. The results from both analysis groups indicate that seeding increases rainfall over portions of the project targets up to 79%. Future efforts will attempt to quantify the effect of seeding over the entire project target areas. The potential benefits of the seeding programs for Texas are considerable.
We added an evaluation process to the Titan, another adjunct of Titan, which now allows us to evaluate any seeded cloud against a control cloud that basically is picked by Titan. That gives us an opportunity to look at the performance of a seeded cloud as opposed to a cloud that was unseeded.
We've seen an increase in rainfall. We can document that through our rainfall gauge readings. We can document that through radar readings on the computer screen. We have seen it with our own eyes.
We produced 51% increase in rainfall, and for us that meant that we had the benefit of an additional 27,817 acre-feet of water. To give you an idea that that's 1 inch of water spread evenly over 521 square miles. That meant a big difference for us.
Weather modification is not drought-busting technology. We now know that the optimum time to use cloud seeding is any time but during a drought. Weather modification cannot create clouds. It cannot convert an untreatable cloud into one that can be seeded. We have to wait for Mother Nature to deal us a hand of suitable clouds. And so we caution people about using weather modification when times are bad, when it hasn't rained in a long time, when a good rain is badly needed. We can use the technology, but we have to lower our level of expectation. Cloud seeding works best when we have abundant clouds, and when those clouds are sufficiently tall that we know if we seed them that they're going to live longer and rain more.
Although great progress has been made in documenting the effects of cloud seeding, there are still questions to be answered and issues to be addressed. For example, whether rainfall increases from seeding in one area takes the rainfall from another, or determining the potential of hygroscopic seeding for rain augmentation in the Texas seeding programs. It is vital, therefore, for the productive partnership between research and operations to continue. A jet aircraft launched to make high-level measurements near the tops of vigorous Texas clouds. High concentrations of supercooled liquid water were detected for the first time to incredibly cold temperatures. This was previously thought impossible, and these unparalleled measurements strengthen the physical basis for cloud seeding in Texas. A new satellite technique developed by Dr. Rosenfeld is now being utilized to evaluate cloud structure and how it's altered by seeding. This satellite technique has also been used to demonstrate that urban and industrial air pollution suppresses precipitation.
You can literally see clouds that are polluted, how they react and become composed of much smaller drops, and then they are much slower and harder to produce rain. And that is confirmed by actual measurements of precipitation by radar in a satellite that sees both the precipitation and the pollution effects on the clouds. I don't think that is unique for Texas. It is a worldwide problem. But Texas, where water availability is a major issue, should be more aware of this.
We already have undesirable, inadvertent weather modification on a global scale. Up to now, the desired effects of deliberate cloud seeding pale by comparison. There is considerable risk, therefore, that water shortages in some areas are going to become chronic and severe. Fortunately, Texas, through its deliberate cloud seeding programs, is being proactive in anticipating and addressing these changes. Research done to support the effort in Texas has also revealed ways that nature copes with man-made pollution. Polluted clouds move from the land masses to the oceans, where they're seeded naturally with tiny hygroscopic salt particles from evaporating sea spray. These salt particles enhance drop size and the resulting rainfall, which eventually washes the pollution from the air. With the exception of dry, salty lake beds, whose dust can also seed the clouds, nature has no such cleansing recourse over land. Ironically, it may take deliberate cloud seeding with hygroscopic salts to reverse the unintended detrimental effects of atmospheric pollution. Such deliberate hygroscopic seeding has been shown to increase rainfall from individual clouds in South Africa, Thailand, Mexico, and India, and Texas is working to incorporate it into its programs. Texas is now also simulating natural cloud processes and their alteration by seeding using a two-dimensional cloud model developed at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem in collaboration with scientists working in Texas. Already this model has produced results showing rain increases from seeding in some situations and decreases in others. A simulation of rain increases due to seeding is shown here. Thus, knowing in advance which seeding effect to expect is obviously vital to seeding the most responsive clouds and to avoiding those for which seeding might prove ineffective. Much of this necessary research has been funded by the state of Texas, and additional funding has been allocated by the U.S. Congress for this purpose. The Texas seeding programs are major beneficiaries of this research, helping them make their seeding efforts even more effective. The vital resource that is water. Its management is a great responsibility. Increasing the supply has always been a dream which comes closer to reality as Texans work together to harvest water from the skies.
I couldn't be any prouder of what we've done in Texas. I think it's a group of local people. The control of the programs has always rested in the hands of the local area.
Water is the source of all of our industry here. If San Antonio did not have a tremendous opportunity for water, it wouldn't be the flourishing community that it is and has been and will be.
By virtue of the activity that we human beings are engaged in, we are altering the weather processes on a continuing basis. No one knows how many ways we change the weather. Many of them for good, some of them not so good. And cloud seeding might be one way that we can work with the natural process to enable clouds to rain more, whereas they might rain less if we were not there to intervene.
Our core counties have a direct benefit of $10.7 million of economic gain for each inch of rain that the program can deliver.
We cannot let a minority opinion not based on sound science be the ultimate ruler unless we're prepared to live with the consequences.